Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between, but most importantly, race fans. My name is Max, and I'll be taking you tonight during the qualifying of the LMP2 and GT3 on the fifth round of the Aquiver eSports Championship. Today, the drivers will try and challenge and finesse their way around the track that is known as Road America. Track located next to Lake Michigan, the United States of America. Quick track with long straights, but most importantly also the fast corners that if you make a slight mistake will mean the end of the race for you and maybe your competitors. Last time out we were on Hockenheim, a quick track actually in iRacing New, where Marco Salom, a Aquiver Motorsports driver and also the owner of this championship, won his second race of the championship in front of Theo Schroeder, taking the lead in the championship. Last time out they were in, they had the exact same points. Then in GT3 Pro, John Barrick, a beast in this season so far. He's won every single race so far, currently on 100 points, the max you can get. Let's see if he can extend that lead even further to 125 points. But Jonas and Jelte will be sure to try and beat him in this one. Then in the amateur class, we have Jamie Daniels winning last time out and also extending his lead over Salas, who were just as LMP1 last race out. They were starting the race on the exact same points as they were at the beginning of the race. Working on the cameras tonight with me is my companion, the only companion with me here tonight, Martin Pearson. How are you this evening?
I'm very well. Thanks very much, Max. How about yourself?
I am feeling very good and very excited for this race. The track is going to be 38 degrees out. How do you think is going to be an extra challenge on this high speed, yet also fun track to drive?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fantastic race and a fantastic challenge for our drivers, as you say, Max. The track temp is quite warm at the moment, so 37 degrees is going to be pushing it for the hour-long race that we've got ahead of us and qualifying on screen at the moment. This is a fantastic circuit, though. Lovely to drive in the LMP2 car that we see on screen now, and the multi-class interaction is certainly going to be something to watch, as it is a bit of a narrower circuit than an FIA Grade 1 circuit.
Definitely. Currently on board with Marcus Salom. He's going to try and put his Aquiver Motorsport LMP2 on the front row as Finn puts in a 150.11 for the first time this evening. Finn being a Obsidian Edge driver, and most of the Aquiver guys dominated in the LMP1 field. As you can see, the LMP1, for that, I meant actually LMP2, as Marcus just 2 tenths behind Finn there on P2. The car's reaching above 200 kilometers an hour on the straights and going above 150 in the corners. Great car to drive, and it's going to be a challenge to first get a good lap in the first 15 minutes of the race of this qualifying. Then we're going to look at 20 minutes of qualifying of the GT3 cars, both the Pro and the Amateurs car, and then 1 hour of just blasting around the track in this lovely car with the Lara P217. As most drivers are going to put in a lap, Mark is getting pushed from that P3 by Leif Weichel, also a Aquiver Motorsport driver. No one yet to be able to beat Finn of his throne in P1, as Theo seems to be kind of off pace there with the 151.77. As most drivers are able to put their cars in the 150 range. The only driver yet to set a lap is Dylan Cooper, and Laurie Coppola is yet to go out on track. Big show up for this race. We currently have, 13, 14 drivers. Martin would be able to confirm that for me. But yeah, big show up for this race, and hopefully it's going to be a big race with maybe some incidents here or there due to new drivers showing up. As we see Marcus setting a second lap here and going fastest with a 150.04. He's going to revert back to that pit lane as Life has got his exit there all sorts of wrong. Don't think he is on a flying lap, so he'll need to either start a new one or go back to pit lane because that was definitely out of track limits.
Yeah, so he
and
peels
there
off
he
into
goes.
the pits there, and aborting that lap as we now have Dylan Cooper, newcomer to the championship, on screen. Another Aquiver Motorsports car. The LMP2 field is dominated by Aquiver Motorsports drivers. However, Finn Norgard Pedersen last time out at Hockenheim was the interloper in his Obsidian Edge vehicle, which he managed to win. So, no, sorry, he was second. He won the previous round at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That's right.
Yeah, Marcus is winning last time out at Hockenheim. Great track as well. Very different to what the guys have for the challenge in this time. This track having 3 very long straights, but then very fast and very narrow corners where you can make little to no error, or you'll be in the wall, or at least be in the grass/gravel. As most cars go into pit lane, as one driver, Laurie Coppola, is yet to go out actually. I think he's gonna be waiting to the last second, hoping the track cools down a bit more.
Yeah, as we look back at a replay of Life by Shell going a little bit wide. So Road America has a few tricky corners, and he just drops the car on the exit of the carousel there onto the grass. And yeah, oh no, sorry, that was turn 2, my mistake. But yeah, I think that was an outlap, so no harm done.
Definitely no harm done yet. He managed to keep it on track and continue his way. Otherwise, he would have the easy way of clicking that reset button and going back to pit lane for another lap. Something that, unfortunately, drivers in real life can't do. That's one benefit of going in our racing. Laurie Coppola here out on track for the first time. Also a Aquiver Motorsport driver. We have, that's going to be 7 drivers of Aquiver Motorsports, of course, in their own series, trying to be as dominant as they can. And so far, the only driver who's managed to go in between them is Finn from Obsidian Edge.
As Finn Norgard Pedersen goes top of the timing sheets, breaking the 150 barrier, so he's done a 149.918. That's fantastic to see him pick up from his last corner spin at Hockenheim. Yeah, no, he's still got plenty of pace in that car.
We've got another 5.5 minutes, and indeed Finn here setting the first lap under the 150. Faster than I would do it, but still definitely a good lap. I'm not even going to try and attempt to get close to there. Now we're going to have to wait to see the reaction of Marcus or even Life, who might be able to put in an even quicker lap, or maybe Laurie. We haven't seen him do a fast lap, so maybe he can grab in the big hat and look if he can find something in there.
Yeah, so Laurie Capello's about to cross the finishing line, nice and smooth out of the final corner, using plenty of runoff but not touching the grass, so he'll get away with that perfectly fine as he slots into, sorry, that must have been an outlap. I don't know what's happened on my timing screen. Is he
I think that is an outlap, yeah.
Yeah, either that or he's had an off track further round that we didn't see. So okay, onto his first flyer now then.
Definitely going into getting out of turn 2 here. You don't want to make many mistakes there, because you have a big long straight going under the "We Are Real Cheese People" sign there, going into the hard braking zone of turn 3. You want to brake here around 300-400 meters to get your car down to under 100 kilometers an hour. Going uphill for a bit, short straight here, bit tricky corner, because if you brake too late, it's a blind corner. You can't really see where you're going. This corner looks to be a little lift, but actually it's flat for all the cars on the track today. And then the long, big right-hander, easy to get yourself mistaken. Going on the power too quickly is an easy mistake to be made here. Going on the power too late and you lose all the time on this straight. Then this corner is going to be the one we're going to be looking at first lap. Cold tires, it's a quick right-hander. Easy to make mistakes going on the grass on the outside will kill your car and also one of your competitors. Then hard braking zone for the right-hander here. Big runoff here, but you can use it. Watch out for the graph on the left side. Quick left here to get your car steered in. A bit of oversteer there on the car. And then for the last corner, you want to keep it in second. Use a bit of that runoff area, which he doesn't do. Let's see if he can put in a quick lap time. As Marcus has not improved on his lap time last time. And Laurie goes 152, refers to the 6th slot not being able to get into those 150s as the top 3 are currently in.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see you compare that slow on his first lap, but maybe then again it is his first lap. But he certainly has a bit more pace than that, so we'll expect him to be right up there. And it looks as if he's continuing on for lap number 2. So yeah, burning off a bit more fuel, and his tyres will be up to temperature a bit better now as well. So yeah, no, we'll certainly expect him to climb the leaderboard a little bit.
Well, he's going to have to hurry up with only 2 minutes left in this LMP2 qualifying, as he's gone all off track there. And that's laps he's going to have to abort and go around for another time if he can get to the front in time.
Yeah, he should be able to start another lap, but it'll be all about the amount of fuel that he has, because, well, either way, if he doesn't have enough fuel, he doesn't have enough time to do an outlap and start another lap now, but at the same time, if he doesn't have enough fuel for a third lap, then yeah, he's going to be starting in 6th position in in LMP2.
Definitely not the best start to this evening, but as the engineer of Max Verstappen, who won the F1 race yesterday, said, it's not all about the qualifying or the Saturday. The points are going to be given in the race. Qualifying is fun to have, as he's gone all sorts of wrong there. Trying to keep it out of the wall as he does, but I think those tires are not going to be liking him for another lap. As Marcus breaks the 150 mark, just as Live does it as well, all very close, all within 2/10 of each other. Marcus putting in a 149.8, just 1/10 ahead of Finn, but Live slotting only 0.05 behind Live slotting only 0.05 behind Finn there. All very close. Let's see if I think Schroeder is still on a lap as Dylan goes back into pit lane. I think Live is about to finish this lap, or
he sounds a bit slow, I think.
He sounds a bit slow
that
here.
one, yeah.
He's going back into pit lane currently in P3. But Finn, I think, is still on the lap here. He still uses all of that off track, trying to get those with 0.11 seconds out of his ass. Trying to get that P1. Will he get it? As he crosses the line for a 1:49.97, just 0.16 seconds slower than Marcus as he puts his car in P2. As that was the LMP2 qualifying as
sorry to cut you off there, Max, but Norgard Pedersen crossed the line with about 5 seconds left on the timer, so this could be the lap of laps for the LMP2 pole.
As he definitely still has some speed in that car, as Schroeder also puts in a quicker lap time, breaking the 151 time, but still 1 second behind P3. Let's see if Finn will still be able to do something to break the dominance of Aquiver out here today. As they got 2 cars in the top 3, maybe he can be the car to be in P1. as he comes around, this long right-hander goes into 4th earlier than Corpella did, so this looks to be a quicker lap than the 152. As Corpella also puts in a new lap time, just behind Dylan, so he will still be in P6 where he started this race. Last few corners for Finn here. He uses all the track as he's gone, I believe, just not out of track, but that's definitely not going to be the lap that he wants, because that will cost him some time. As he comes around for the last corner here, going into the pit lane, he's aborted this lap and goes P2. Just a slight little error, as I said at the beginning of this broadcast. Slight little error can cost you loads of things, and right here it cost him that P1 spot that he was certainly wanting to get for this race.
Yeah, that's a big shame to see Finn there running out wide at the Canada corner, but yeah, as you say, it's a long race and he's only a 10th off at the moment, so that won't be too much troubling him, and yeah, he just has to sit tight for the next 15-18 minutes or so whilst the GT cars go out.
And definitely the GTE, of course, GT3, of course, here being with multiple cars currently on board with John Derek, leader in the GT3 AM class, if I'm not mistaken. He is currently a car with all the wins to his name, trying to get his 5th win of the season, on his way to getting a clean sweep, hopefully. He's running in the McLaren here, Rottenberry Racing. Fast driver of 5K. Hopefully he can extend his lead even further.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if John Derek can do any fuel saving strategy today, because at Mosport he didn't even make a pit stop in the hour-long race that we had there. He said the rolling hills of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park helped him save quite a lot of fuel. So yeah, it'd be interesting. There's a little bit of undulation and altitude change here at Road America, but I wonder if that'll be enough for him to not make a pit stop, or whether at least, as we saw at Hockenheim, we'll be able to extend the first stint nonetheless.
Definitely, the cars, of course, in LMP1 having 100% of their fuel, but in GT3 the cars all been just a bit knocked down, only having, I believe, 75% of their actual fuel. The race being 1 hour, I think their fuel is only going to last them for max 15 minutes, but if he is able to do it at Canadian Motorsports, of course, being a track with also those hills that we can see over here in the Wisconsin mountains, hopefully he can make something out of those little liters of fuel that he has. So currently on board with Eric Manuelson. Sorry, I couldn't get that out of my mouth there. GT3 AM driver. Hopefully he can do something with that Audi of his. One of the few Audis actually on the board. Most of the drivers referring to the Lamborghini GT3 or the BMW. Audi, of course, after the changes they made last season, really making it difficult to drive the car sliding really easily. It's currently on board with a 143, switching over to Silas Nicholson of 5-4 International Racing in the BMW, also a new car dry racing with that lovely black and purple paint scheme of his. Definitely looks fast. Let's see if it is fast as he goes here for his first lap. If I'm correct, looking at the timestamp, he is actually going to go for his first lap here, crossing the line. These cars, of course, being a little bit slower. A little bit is an understatement than those LMP2 cars. Going into the first corner, probably already being about 20 to 30 kilometers slower due to that downforce that this car doesn't have. just relying on his mechanical grip. Turn 2 not looking that very good, but there's a long straight where you can make up that time that you lose maybe in some of the corners if your setup allows it. Some drivers going for the low downforce setup, really wanting to get the high speed. Some drivers choosing that downforce to make him not spin in the fast corner, going, of course, the corner being turn
5 according to the track map, but we had this big debate through the ISR EC round here of what actually are the track numbers there. Yeah, so now we've just gone Harry down straight and into turn 8, and then Carousel here actually apparently takes up 2 corner numbers, so lucky it for getting an extra number there. So 9 and 10 through the Carousel as he's waiting to get on the power now, full throttle, gliding out towards the left-hand curve, stays left, and it's a big lift for his first banking qualifying lap through the kink of 11. Comes through to Kettle Bottoms towards Canada Corner. Big braking area into Canada Corner, nice early apex using all of the runoff there. You don't want to use too much, but you do want to maximise your exit through Thunder Valley and Bill Mitchell Bend here. Whoop, bit of gas there perhaps on the right hand side of the tyres. Braking across the circuit and across the runoff again and up the hill to complete his first flying lap.
Yes, let's see where he can put this BMW of his. As Yelta puts his car in the Lamborghini, currently in P1, only 2/10 quicker than the P2 of Vinicius Loyola. As Silas puts his car currently in P2 in class, P5 overall, definitely proving that the BMW still has some speed, but he needs to optimize that speed to get P1, where Eric currently is. Currently on board with Yelta, going for a second lap, back to back it looks like. Has some speed in that Lamborghini. Regnation Endurance, of course, being a mostly friend-related team. But definitely Yelta seems to have some speed in this car. Currently on a 206.3 for his first bank lap. Let's see if he can put something quicker on the board. Going for a second lap, of course, meaning his tires will either be hotter, or it looks like he has stopped there to revert back to the pit lane, not enjoying his last corner, as John Derrick puts his car currently 6/10 ahead of that of Yelta's, with a 205.77 here, and the McLaren of his, one of the few, I believe the only driver to drive the McLaren so far, it has been treating him very well, winning every single race in this 9-race championship, currently on round 5. If you are enjoying what you're seeing at this very moment, you can, of course, join not only us through the rest of our broadcast by subscribing to the channel and also following us on Twitter. But you can also join the Aquiver eSports Championship, either the LMP2 or the LMP or the GT3 class, by referring to the Discord link that is down below. Free of charge. The only thing you have to do is have fun and be quick. Currently on board with Jamie Daniels here in Omega Racing, the other BMW out on track today. Definitely also having some speed in him for his first lap. I think this is the second lap actually. He had still had aboard at his first lap. The hardest corner, of course, coming up right here. You're a long right-hander. If you touch that grass on the outside and just get your steering inputs wrong, you'll spin that car around and be begging to whoever you pray to not get you hit by any other car. Going through the last couple of corners here, not using all the off-track that is to his disposal. Definitely looks to be quick out here. As he also not uses everything off the track right there. Could have gone a bit more wide. As he comes through the last corner, using all the off-track there that he can before he gets an actual off-track. To hopefully put his car somewhere high in his class. Currently only 2 cars have put a time. As he goes third in his class with a 2:08.77. Just a tiny bit behind Silas in that 5-4 BMW. As Miguel Sanchez in the Audi also seems to be quick. He's going to go around for his first time the lap. Let's see what he can do in a Audi of his. And he puts it in 4th in class with a 2:06.58, only 0.2 seconds behind Vinicius. He's going to be sweating his pants and hopefully be able to do a quicker lap, because he's going to have to. Of course, all being very close, only drivers who are able to kind of extend their lap times so far. This is Derek breaking the 2:05. 2:06 range there as Juan goes back to pit lane. Derek here being the only driver to go under the 2:06. Hopefully the other guys will be able to get him out of his P1 and out of his maybe throne that he's been sitting on this entire season. And Eric here, the only driver in the GT3 AM class to go under the 2:08. Having a 3/10 lead over Silas in the BMW of this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Max, how the mid-engine AM driver of Eric Emanuelson handles the outline race, because we saw a few thrills and spills from the GT3 category cars in the mid-engine, from GT3 category drivers in the mid-engine cars, so yeah, I'll be interested to see that. They seem to have the outright pace, but the BMWs seem to be a little bit more stable. And Road America is a punishing circuit, as it is. The perimeter of it is grass or gravel, and then there's a wall not too far away. So yeah, hopefully Eric Manuelson will. We wish him well, obviously, and we don't want wish ill luck on him. But hopefully he'll be able to keep it on the track and show his pace throughout the 60 minutes ahead of him.
Definitely, the rear engine, just in the Audi and also the McLaren, proving to be a real challenge. But if you can master it, you can get those cars very high on track. Some tracks also favoring the little bit more oversteery car. But of course, one of the most planted cars and one of the most easy cars to drive, still the Ferrari here with operating on partner Vinicius. Easy doesn't mean he can easily put it on pole there. He goes for his second flying a lap here, staying in third, going above 150 kilometers an hour in turn 1. This is turn 2. Then we're going to go in turn 3 here, because the numbering on this track is all sorts of wrong. Once again, staying in third for this long straight. You can put your taxi turns if you're going on this straight. Maybe get a wife and kids while you're at it. To go in this very hard braking zone of then turn 5. Once again, not very good. Using all the track you get, staying in first gear. Most drivers I think going to be in second gear there for the stability. Going uphill, going left here. Once again, very tricky corner because you can't really see where you're going until it's too late. Then I think he stayed flat there. I think most cars stay flat. Then a hard braking zone again, going to the left here. And going underneath the bridge here of Road America for this long right-hander. You're waiting to get on the power. You're waiting until you can get full on the power. You're switching up to fourth, going full throttle now. Oh, going with every single ball that he has hanging through this corner, trying not to go too wide there because it's easy to make a mistake and go into the wall and ending your race, or in this instance you're qualifying for the second, for one of the final hard braking zones here. He's using all the black stuff there that you're paid to use. Going to the left here, going uphill once again, barely able to see where you're going if you're in that seat. Going to the last corner, braking on that outside, not trying to hit the grass, because if you hit that grass, you're cooling around. To finish off his second and hopefully quickest flying lap here. 2:05 is what he has to beat. He puts in a 2:06.2, still not beating Jelte, but definitely getting close, only 300ths of a second behind that Dutchman in his Lamborghini.
Yeah, as Jelte Korsman's about to cross the line to complete, to start a flying lap for Wag Nation Endurance. I'm sorry, Max, I butted in and I thought I had a point to make and I've absolutely forgotten it. Eric, feel free to carry on.
That happens with old age. Not just joking with you. He's currently on P2 at Jelte, trying to get his lovely black and red Lamborghini on P1 there. John also just started a lap. He's just behind him. One straight separate them with only 3 minutes left in this qualifying, and like the LMP2 just had the chance to go and finish that lap once they cross the line. Unfortunately, the GT3 don't. So we only got 2.5 minutes currently, and then it's done.
Yeah, as I have remembered my point, Max. So as we can see on the timing board on the left-hand side, we've got a separation between the Pro class and the AM class, and that's been unusual to see so far in the championship. There's usually been at least one AM mixing it with the Pro category cars. So yeah, everybody finding their feet, and this is one of the more complex circuits on the championship with a greater number of corners as Silas Nicolaisen goes through the carousel. Looks like he's slowing down to a stop. He must have not be happy with his with his lap so far, and therefore letting Derek pass very gently like there, so unaffected, so Derek can continue on.
Of course, the time's not being that far out from one another, only 400ths of a second separating the GT Pro with the GTM. Road America not being that difficult of a track, but then again, showing to be quick on this track is definitely a big challenge. With indeed separating those two iRating classes, with the separation starting at 2K, you can really see where some drivers just be able to squeeze out those little tenths, those little seconds out of this lovely, quick and fast track. As we saw Silas going in, currently on provisional pole. Let's see if Emil can do something about that as Kwan goes over the line for his probably last lap, or maybe his first to last lap, as he put in a 6:57, still not beating Vinicius there in P3, but improving his time. Maybe he can improve again on this final lap here, as the time is also running out, so this will be his final chance. He can't make any mistakes here. He needs to knit this lap together, just like your grandma does with the clothing you broke once going out to play. As we also can see the car classes that we are in, most of the top drivers of course being in the Lara, as the checkered flag is being waved for this first qualifying session before the race. There's still some drivers going out, as I think Jelte just got an off track I saw out of the corner of my eye, so he can't improve. But Jelte does go at 2:05.6, as Jelte indeed got it all sorts of wrong there, not being able to complete a lap, and I think that is Derek going to be on pole, unless Kwan is able to get about a second out of his ass somewhere on the track and is able to beat him, as Derek doesn't improve here. Yelto's showing what I meant with that the quick right-hander being a force to be reckoned with, and definitely being a hard corner to get correct. As John also goes into pit lane, and I'm unfortunately going to have to announce that one of the LP2 drivers of Dylan Cooper has unfortunately retired from the race before this even started due to his internet going out. One of the only issues that you can have in this virtual racing world that we are in. As Juan also goes into pit lane, only driver yet on track. The only other Audi of Eric and Madison, trying to get those tiny time difference to that BMW Silas. Maybe he can beat Silas, or maybe he can even beat one of the pro drivers to show that our rating doesn't really matter. Going into the last few corners here, using all the off track that he can get. He paid for it, he's going to use it. Left-hander here, can't see it until you're out of it. Big braking zone, and then on the last straight, hopefully he can complete his left hand, because I think we're going to be heading to him as he goes into pit lane. So he doesn't beat Silas, and he's going to have to be in second. As Derek seemed to have gone out again after his lap.
I think he's just returning to the pit lane after the qualifying session is finished, getting another lap as practicing, as he's entitled to do so, I guess, and making sure that he might be practicing his fuel-saving strategy, perhaps. Let's ride on board. Oh, no, as the session has ended, so we shall bring up the qualifying results.
Fortunately, no cheating. The little bits of what he's going to be doing in this race. Marcus Solom putting his LMP2 Aquiver on pole there with an amazing 149, as Finn is only 1/10 behind him in P2 there. Definitely being close. Hopefully he can do something in this race of 1 hour. Live being in P3 and Tio being in P3. Both Aquiver drivers locking out that second row. Dylan Cooper in P5, unfortunately, he has left the session and retired from this race due to internet connection, meaning Laurie, not the best qualifying from him, putting it in P5 then. As we move on to the GT3 Pro class, John Derek being once again a force to be reckoned with, winning all the races in P7. Yelta in P8, trying to beat him for once, trying to kick John off his ego dominance boost that he has been on this entire season. Vinicius in 4th, and Juan and the beautiful Audi of his in 4th, sorry, Vinicius being a 3rd in his class, and Hendrik putting the only Aquiver driver going for the GT3 option in P5. Silas puts his BMW on first in his class, Eric following him, with Jamie Daniels finishing off this lineup and this grid for this 1 hour race that we're going to be having. Just waiting on Dylan, and then we'll start our formation lap behind the iRacing truck, and then we're going to be on the amazing race that we're going to be having, as I think that is Laurie being a bit impatient there, almost pushing his teammate and Theo up the track, saying, come on, let's go, I want to go racing, and I want to show you guys what I can bring here. On this formation lap here, we're going to see guys warming up the tires, some guys not warming up their tires, and a little gap to the GT3 class. As those warm tires are definitely going to be saving you, because cold tires on the first lap, where you're fighting with each other, you're going for that every single little inch that you can get. You want to have hot tires. If you have cold tires and the guy behind you has hotter tires than you do, he's going to have that advantage on you. And you never ever want to give your competitors an advantage if you can take the advantage yourself.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we'll be expecting a little bit of a gap, as you can see on screen there, between the LMP2 category and the GT3s. This is just a bit of a standard thing that happens in iRacing, just to, if there are any thrills or spills at the front of the LMP2 field, then the GT3 field should hopefully not come across it, and it'll all be cleared up by the time they get there. So nothing to worry about with a little bit of a gap there between the two. As Life Vichel is having a grand old time warming up his tyres, Fernando Alonso style on the warm-up lap.
Definitely, but what you want to be wary of is not to do what Mick Schumacher did yesterday, spinning on the out lap or maybe damaging your car before the race has even begun. As we can see, the GT3 not worrying about the tire temps. Also something you can do, not worry about the tire temps, because if no one else does it, you won't have to. But warming those tires will also decrease the tire wear. So that's also something you gotta be wary of. If you do it too hard before the race is even started, then you're gonna be hating yourself at the end there.
Absolutely. So remember the different colours of the Aquiver Motorsports cars. So we've got Laurie Capella with the pink highlighter stripe down the side. We have Theo Schroeder with the light green. Life Vichel is has the multicoloured scheme. So he's on his front right is pink, on his front left is a bluey green colour, and Norgard Pedersen is the cat amongst the pigeons in the Obsidian Edge car. You see the number 77 purple wings on that car, and alongside him on his right, our left, is number 86 Marcus Solholm with the blue right hand front and the pink left. That is.
As they're breaking away from that iRacing truck to start this 1 hour race with one mandatory pit stop. As a bit of a gap has fallen to Finn, he doesn't want to be caught out here with leaving Marcus to go ahead. But yeah, definitely one pit stop for this LMP2 class, but maybe like in Canada Motor Speedway, those GT3 will be able to do something to save their fuel to the end. As we're going to go green here in a second as his truck goes in. Marcus has now got full discretion on where to start and when to start. He's backing up the field. He's backing up even further. He's waiting. He's still waiting. He's still waiting. He can wait till the green. He can wait to the line as he goes right now. Not that great of a start there from Theo, getting caught out as they're going 3 wide, already going to the first corner. In the back we also see some 3 wide action as Finn goes first, going ahead of... Oh, he gets it all sort of wrong. Going ahead of Marcus, I was about to say. But he goes wide, going onto the grass, going in, almost spinning his car into the ball, not something you want to do. As 4 Aquiver guys chase him down the straight. As you think he has just that kind of speed difference. Life here trying to squeeze his car in the middle of 3 wide. As Marcus also re-overtakes him. Going into P1 now. As I think Marcus has missed his braking point, allowing Finn to go out into the lead. And I think also Jelte has the lead in the GT3 class. But this LMP2 class is also definitely something you want to be watching. Jelte ahead of John here, having a better start in this Lamborghini. John needs to fight back now to get a P1. Maybe he can fuel save behind Jelte here. Maybe that was the strategy. As Silas still in this BMW in the lead of this GT3 amateur class, ahead of the other BMW, and Eric finding it difficult to get some speed into his Audi. As Life Record in the LMP2 class also makes a move for P4, trying to get back up to the field. But I think these guys, what they really want to be focused on is to stop fighting and get back to the top two guys, because they're going to be riding away with the victory. And I think definitely at this point you need some team orders. Come on, guys, we need to fight back. We don't want to fight we don't want to fight each other right now. We want to work with each other and get back to these guys at the front here. As there's already a 2-second gap between those two leading LMP2s and the rest of the field.
As we'll go back to replay, we've had reports that Jamie Daniels has had an accident. So this is coming down to Canada corner. Let's see what occurs here. Looks like Eric Manuelsen tried it up the inside and potentially contact there, I'm afraid. Maybe a little bit of netcode, but at the end of it, unfortunately, Jamie Daniels had a bit of a half spin and recovered back from there.
Yeah, unfortunate. Eric trying to go somewhere where he can't go. Now Jamie being far back, 5 seconds currently behind Eric there. Something the stewards can get a look at after this or during the race. As we're still on board here with Marcus Solom, trying to get the P1 of a Finn. The fight here in the championship is still going very hard. Finn, of course, trying to beat all those Aquiver guys, trying to beat him off, but Marcus definitely being quick, as he's shown not only in this championship, but also in the ISRC championship that is going to be starting at the end of May again, as Marcus goes on the gravel there, almost losing his car, going a bit more oversteery than he might like it. Will he be able to gain this position back? I think Marcus might be fuel saving behind this Obsidian Edge car, but in the ISRC E Championship, the Endurance Championship that ISRC is hosting, Marcus during the 24-hour race of Le Mans also showing that he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. If he tries to go around the outside, not a place where you can go normally, but he definitely is showing that he wants to, as he's still side by side with Finn here. They're still side by side as Marcus goes on the off track there. He currently is in P1 as he pulls ahead of Finn there, going around the outside of turn 1, going around the outside of turn 2 with the slipstream. Definitely something you don't want to count out. As Finn comes back around the outside, can he also go around the outside here, or does he have to refer to go behind him? As Finn goes a bit more oversteery. Currently he's ahead. Guys, you can't go side by side here, as Finn knows that he needs to slot in behind him, unfortunately. Because these corners you can't go with guys side by side. But due to that fighting, Live Vehicle is able to gain back to that position. And the rest of the guys also are able to slot back in behind this fight. So with that little fight that we had right there, it's not only enabled Marcus to gain P1 back again, it's also enabled Live to gain time on the P1 and P2 and Finn, currently in the Aquiver sandwich.
Yeah, as looking at the timing screen, Life Vichel, that battling ahead of him, as you say, has managed allowed him to reduce the gap, but also it gave him fastest lap at the moment, so he's done a 51.69 on that previous lap, as Finn Norgard Pedersen's showing a little bit of frustration to Marcus Solholm ahead, perhaps with a little flash of the headlights as they go into the final corner. But this looks like a cracking battle for the top three in LMP2.
Definitely, if it's going to continue for the next 55 minutes, those guys are going to need to buy me a new throat and new everything. As I also see, I think Jamie Daniels is not his best race so far, as it looks like Yalta has also gotten the lead. Jamie here being already lapped by some of the lead guys, but what I was saying, Yalta having a lead currently over John. There's also a P4 change at the moment in LMP2, Theo overtaking him, but there's a little gap of about 1 second currently in that GT3 field, and Yalta also goes quickest right now, as we now got a replay.
So this is a replay of Theo overtaking Laurie Capella. It goes around the outside, and Capella lets him go quite sensibly there at the apex of turn 5. So good racing there between the Aquiver Motorsports drivers.
Definitely, that's the one advantage you have once you're in a team with one another. You can just chat to each other, tell your teammate to politely, as they would say, get out of my way, I'm quicker. They need to fight their way back up to those top 3 guys if they want to have a chance. As also Silas here has also gone a huge gap on Eric in that Audi, Eric not being able to put quick lap times in that Audi. But Silas definitely showing his pace in his BMW, hunting down the only Aquiver in the GT3 of Henrik. Maybe he will be the first to break this GT3 Pro and AM barrier in this race so far. As Finn has also overtaken Marcus again, as he also goes quickest this lap. Definitely a fight we don't want to lose eyes on, as I think Marcus might be telling Life to stay behind him, don't overtake me right now. This is a fight I need to win. But Life is also definitely showing himself around the outside as he overtakes almost 2 cars there, braking really late into the braking zone. Finn needs to leave him space there, but definitely a huge lunge into the braking zone from Life there, almost overtaking 2 cars around the outside. Definitely something we need to keep an eye on, as he does that more this race. But now Marcus is going to be frustrated behind Life. Marcus probably being the quicker driver of the 2, just being stuck behind Finn there, dividing, making opportunities for Life to catch up. But that's something you have to be wary of. If you're going to be fighting, then slower drivers can catch up. But Life is definitely showing not to be a slower driver as he overtakes Marcus there. And now he's trying to hunt down Finn for that P1.
Yeah, so these guys are just trading fastest lap after fastest lap at the moment. Finn Norgard Pedersen has it at the moment. He's bettered it to a 51.166. Whereas Weichel's only sitting 30 thousandths of a second behind. So yeah, fantastic scrapping, and the slipstream that these LMP2 Delaras provides just allows all of these guys to stay close and yeah, trade fastest laps. Fantastic stuff.
Definitely, as Lice shows himself on the inside there, but just a bit too far for descent. But we're going to be on a very long straight here, and they're all within slipstream of another. Maybe Marcus can do the move that Life wanted to last lap, but Life is definitely close for a move into the next braking zone here. The slipstream not showing himself, as they're going to be over. Definitely Life shows himself around the outside here. I think he's just ahead. I think Finn needs to move in behind him, but this means he's once again in that sandwich of Aquiver, and he's going to want to try and overtake Life again to show himself in this Aquiver dominated series. Of course, also being hosted by Aquiver, but that doesn't mean the Aquiver guy needs to win this race. Finn wants to show that he has the quicker car out today. But these all 3 drivers, all being within almost 1 second of one another, definitely showing that they all got pace. As I think Finn is going to show himself on the inside here, Life defending the inside. Finn trying to move around the outside, just not being able to plant down his power. And this is not a corner you want to go side by side, as now the first bit of traffic is also showing up. And that's going to also have an effect on this race. Marcus, watching the show on P3, probably enjoying his bit of popcorn, but I think he doesn't want to enjoy the popcorn, but I think he wants to enjoy that champagne of P1. But he needs to go and fight for it. As they're weaving, trying to break that slipstream there. That slipstream definitely helping Finn overtaking Life here. All the drivers swapping places, all because of that slipstream, because they're just so much on pace. just touching the grass there, using every inch of the track. They spend their money wisely on this track, lovely track. Then they're going to use every little inch of this track, and I think this is the first lap where we don't see a lead change, as Finn is now trying to defend from Marcus, who's sniffing that gearbox out. He's almost not going on him to mate in this April and May season. As he looks down his inside, flashing his lights, saying, I want to go, I am the quicker driver, I want to be in P1. But Marcus knows that this is not a corner you can overtake him. As Jamie also has an off track, and I think Eric has made a big mistake there, being a lap behind, or just 20 seconds behind Jamie there. So I think Eric must have made a mistake earlier on in the race. And I think we're going to be showing that right now. Eric missing the corner there and hitting the wall hard. That front of that Audi not looking the way he wants it to be, and the wing also being bent. Let's hope his steering wheel isn't bent.
I think it is for Aiden. I think he has jumped back to the pit lane. So we're fortunate to see first-time runner Eric Manuelson having a bit of trouble there, but we'll put our eyes back on this fantastic battle for second place in LMP2.
Definitely as live, with the fighting still going between these two master of drivers. For P2, Life has been able to punch a 2-second gap, and I think that's what Marcus is not happy about, because then he needs to drive even harder to get back to P1. As also Jamie Daniels has gone into pit lane to probably retire from this race or maybe get fuel. Just now, as we're going to see a replay of the overtake, or no, not the overtake, of Jamie going into pit lane. But we're going to see the replay here of Finn getting overtaken by Marcus here on the pit lane straight. Marcus just outbraking him there for that P2 spot, but the fight is definitely not over. Still got 58 minutes left to go in this hour race. 45 minutes is going by even quicker than I thought it was, as they're going around the outside of the GT3 of Silas, who is currently I think the only driver in the GT3 class yet to pit, as Jamie Daniels has gone out again. So he has no issues. Currently 30 seconds behind Silas there. But you can see the speed difference that car, that LMP2 had around the outside, just driving there like there was no GT3 there. But this GT3 is definitely holding him up. No, not Silas, Finn.
That's
now
Hendrik
needing to
Lichtenhagen in the GT3 Lamborghini, that is, sorry.
Yeah, Hendrik, the only Aquiver, definitely holding up Finn there, as traffic shows on this tight and not that wide track to be a big challenge for these drivers. As once again, Finn just gets hauled up by these bloody GT3s, as they would say, and Marcus being able to punch that little bit of gap and a little bit of air, as all the drivers now on the same part of the track, just trying to find a way through the traffic. It's like morning going to the office without Corona, as Laurie is now far behind the rest of his competitors in the LMP2 field. Laurie not having the best of days. Definitely a quick driver, North America showing not to be his track today. As he's once again being held up here by Hendrik, his teammate in the Quiver, as he almost loses it there, trying to go on the outside there, going offline. But I think he's going to show what the speed difference and the downforce difference of this LMP2 can do, just showing how quickly he can get to the back of that Ferrari. The Ferrari even getting scared, looked like it, by the speed that LMP2 car has. The Ferrari of Vinicius, currently P4, I think he's just cruising, but he seems to have lost some time due to the traffic, allowing Hendrik to close up to him again. Hendrik using all the space there, going almost an off track, but the fight is not over. Definitely in the LMP2 class, as Life extends his lead even further with a half a second quicker lap time. Him showing that he's mastered the craft of overtaking. But Marcus here still needs to defend from Finn, although he had some luck with the traffic. Finn has been able to somehow gain back the time that he has lost due to the traffic. Now being the one in the gearbox. He has his gearbox sniffed out earlier on. He shows himself on the outside there just a bit too far, but Marcus is definitely not happy, not enjoying a race currently. Well, he's enjoying the race. He just wants to be in P1, as he got his exit all sorts of wrong there. As they're going side by side there, Finn now being ahead. He's a tiny inch, but Marcus outbreaks him there. Marcus going back into P1. Marcus must be needing a code brown new panties, order him some new panties, run to his office, run to his simulator, because he's gonna need new underwear. Code brown there, he almost lost his car, but this leaves Life Weichel to get even a further lead, almost 4 seconds now, with Finn. He's side by side here now with Marcus. He's ahead of him as they're going side by side, no touching each other, guys. Still side by side here. No one wants to give any inch to one another as Finn now pulls ahead, but now he needs to be wary of that slipstream. And this fighting also means that Life is even further now ahead, almost 5 seconds. And both drivers must be kicking themselves. As you can see the lap time chart here on the bottom right hand of the screen, that is the difference that both cars have. You can see Life extending his lead over these two other these two competitors of him, as also the GT3 class is currently being dominated by Jelte so far, but he's being chased down by Jon here. Jon now being in the slipstream, being quicker last lap. As you can see, he has been getting closer each lap, but that traffic earlier on really not helping Derek there. But maybe he has been saving fuel to go that extra lap, or even maybe not going into the pit lane at all. Because I think we only have about 20 more minutes or even 15 minutes left till we get the first cars to pit, as I think my guess would be that Eric has retired from this race, being in the pit lane for almost 4 laps now. John, we're coming on board here with John Derrick in this beautiful dragon fire spitting McLaren of his. The Roddenberry Racing hunting down the Reg Nation Endurance team of Jelte Korsman, the Lamborghini there. Old versus new. As you can see, the different lines that these guys are taking. Jelte referring to the bit more wide, and John just staying on the inside there. But it seems like Jelte's line is just that tiniest bit quicker. As Life also goes for the quickest lap in this race so far with a 1:52, and Finn only being still need to find 6/10 there. Him being slower at this moment, as they're still fighting side by side, it looks, or almost side by side in the LMP2 class. Finn now having that tiny bigger advantage, but that slipstream is definitely still there. But I think if Marcus doesn't speed up here in a second, he's gonna lose that slipstream. And Finn needs to fight to gain back the time that he's lost during the fighting that he was doing with Finn earlier in this race. As we're currently in P2, as we got the first pitter here and a replay, I think an incident.
Yeah, unfortunately Vinicius ran wide there, and then he's come into the pit lane at the end of the lap, so didn't see any contact there, but he is most certainly in the pit lane. So maybe he's pitting a bit earlier, and he'll then fuel up and be good to go for the end of the race now.
Definitely, I think he might. It looked to me like he was serving a drive-through penalty there. Maybe he had that many off track that he already got one. But I think he already had a drive-through penalty there. Just going wide there in a fast right-hander, showing how dangerous that corner can be. But he's apparently had the skill to not spin his car there and lose out on this track. But it did allow Silas to break this barrier between the pro drivers and the amateur drivers, and has allowed Hendrik to move up to P2. As a last lap, Life still quicker than Finn here. Finn using every single inch of this track, trying to keep also Marcus behind him, but also getting closer to this amazing drive that Weigel has been doing this so far in his Aquiver car. He's about half a straight ahead of them, and he can start thinking about his strategy, maybe fuel saving here and there, or maybe even saving the tires for the end of the race, because currently he has a 6-second interval to the next car, as he is currently behind Daniels here at the Omega Racing car. Going out the outside, they're showing the difference in downforce that these cars have. But yeah, he can start thinking about his pit strategy. Maybe save fuel. Going that extra lap will allow him to save time in the pit lane, because if you can go that extra lap, you're gonna be standing still shorter time than the guys who are currently going full throttle every single lap, trying to get the time that they lost on live fighting. But live must be enjoying life right now. Perfect name for that.
Yeah, absolutely great there. He's done a fantastic job so far, and he just getting up previous results. He's only had a third place previously, and that was at the first round at Spa. So no, certainly putting on a good show here, and showing our championship leader Marcus Solholm the way forward.
He must have been practicing the last 3 weeks, as we currently also have had a lead change in the GT3 Pro class, with Derek going ahead of, I think, Jelte making a bit of a mistake earlier on, as we're going into a replay of Jelte getting all sorts of wrong coming out of, I believe that is turn 2 going on the straight. He went a bit too wide, going on the grass, losing that P1, allowing Derek to go ahead of him in that McLaren of his.
Yeah,
and then we can see Derek.
Sorry, Max, just saying, it's pretty simple overtake there with an unusual mistake by Korsman, but I'm sure we'll tag back on the back of Derek, and yeah, Derek I think is pushing to the maximum today. It seems I didn't really hear much fuel saving going on there.
Yeah, I think he might have been fuel saving earlier on, but the battle in the LMP2 field definitely not over. Still Finn and Marcus still within 1 second of each other, not leaving their sides this entire race, all being just competitive all race, and hunting each other down. So I think Marcus might be saving just that tiny inch of fuel behind him, knowing that an overtake, knowing that a battle will only result in a further gap to Live Weigel and P1 currently. And what you want to do is work with each other at this point. You have 35 minutes still in this race. You want to save the fuel for the extra lap, and you want to just work with each other, because last lap they weren't fighting. They were almost a second quicker. They were a second quicker than Live last lap, showing that they can be quick. Just when fighting with each other, you just can't use or normalize the quickest lines. You need to you need to be wary of one another, as we've got a track map on, and you can just see half a straight there difference between that P1 in LMP2 and these two guys trying to hunt him down, as they seem to have cooled down with the fighting, knowing that they need to help each other to try and win this race.
Yeah, and we also see on the track map that Juan Miguel Sanchez Melanes is only a short distance ahead of Hendrik Lichtenhagen of the Aquiver Motorsports Lamborghini in the background. So these guys, Hendrik's keeping in touch with Melanes at the IDAC Club Audi R8 ahead of him. So yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that plays out for the rest of the race. But yeah, at the front of GT3 Pro, these guys are certainly pedal to the metal and quite close together still, which is great.
Yeah, as John Derek and also Jelte Korsman both put their fastest lap of this race so far. Jelte putting the fastest lap with those fires coming out of that beautiful McLaren MP4 of his. As Weichel has gone into the pit lane, I hope for him that is a normal pit lane. Looks to be, with a bit of smoke, just braking as light as he can. I think he might have underfueled his car at the beginning of the race to be as quick as he can, build that gap, and now he's going to be pitting. But that might give him a bit of a disadvantage, because you're going to be slower in the pit lane. You're going to be losing that time as he goes for his pit crew there. And I believe this is just going to be fueling. At least I hope for him that this is going to be a planned pit stop, because he looked that he was going to be smooth sailing the rest of the race. But this has allowed Finn, who's not going to be pitting for a while, I hope, to go back out into the front here. Finn now being in P1, followed by Marcus, but Marcus now knows life is on a different strategy. What am I going to do? Am I gonna fuel safe behind him? Am I gonna go that extra lap? Am I gonna fight him, try and go around the outside, maybe use the slipstream to overtake him, and build that gap to Finn? As we see live here coming out of pit lane, only going for fuel there. A normal pit stop of only 30 seconds. 30 seconds, that's better than what Eric had of 14 minutes being in pit lane. He's currently out on track once again. It seems to have fixed some of his car, the wing still not being perfect. But yeah, he's going to be sailing home to at least get some points out of this race, with only 3 cars being in the GT3 AM class. Not really that big of a fight. Silas is just sailing home. As Jelte also puts in his quickest lap time, but John Derek is even quicker than that. Only was 2 tenths quicker, building that gap even further, almost 2 seconds right now. As Jelte takes an off track there, not something you want to be doing. You want to be wary of that off tracks, because you can get maybe a disqualification if you do it a bit too much. As you already seen Vinicius needing to refer to the pit lane for a drive-through penalty, most likely.
Yeah, I believe you're right there, Max. I think Vinicius, Loya, and Jamie Daniels have both served drive-throughs as their records show, that they didn't stop in their pit boxes, but they had a pass-through time or a pit lane time of about 40 seconds each. So yeah, unfortunate to see that for them. Although Jamie Daniels is managing to hold on to second place after Eric Emanuelsson's trouble in his Audi. I mean, we did say at the start of, or in qualifying, however, that the front-engine cars might be a little bit easier to hold on to than the mid-engined Audi, and that certainly paid dividends for Nicolaisen and Daniels at the moment.
Definitely, but also that mistake that Eric made is just going a bit too wide, going onto the grass, as we saw earlier on in the race. At the exact same corner Silas is right now, hitting the wall there and needing to tow back to the pit lane for a quick repair. His crew definitely being quick to fix his car there. As we switch here to Marcus overtaking They're both lapping the McLaren of John Derek here, but Marcus being just stuck behind John there for just a tiny bit, and that has allowed Finn to build just a bit bigger of a gap, and I think this has allowed Finn to get out, to put Marcus out of his slipstream range, and that is going to cost Marcus a lot, so he's going to have to really start finding the pace, fighting maybe even a bit harder to get back into the slipstream, because if he's not in the slipstream and he can't overtake, he can't fuel safe, and he's going to have to just try his hardest to gain back the time that he's lost. But Eric Emerson is ahead of him now, and I think he's going to lose even more time. He looks down the inside. No, you can't go there, Marcus. Marcus hits Eric there. I think he's picked up that just a tiny bit of damage. Marcus being too eager to overtake there, showing himself just a bit too late there. Eric going once again off track. Eric, not the best of races, and I think he is gonna go back to the pit lane and grab a cup of tea. But this has allowed Finn another 1.5 seconds ahead to now be 2.5 seconds ahead of Marcus there. Marcus making for someone with his amount of skill and his amount of races just what seems to be like a rookie mistake. You can't go down the inside there. And Finn shows here that having 6k air rating doesn't really matter if you're gonna go for, I would say, pretty stupid moves there on the inside of a corner where both drivers know you can't go side by side, and the Audi of Eric was already committed to that corner, as Eric also now has retired the car for, I think, hopefully a cup of tea or something else, maybe even popcorn to watch this broadcast. But that was a pretty stupid mistake from Marcus there. He seemed to have picked up a bit of damage, but also loses a lot of time. And I think this might have been, he might have thrown away his chances here. But this shows that just the traffic can be very dangerous. But Finn's still out in P1, and I think the pit stop are about to start for at least the P2 class. I think we're not far away from that. And we're gonna see if the idea of life going earlier in the pit lane at 25 minutes into the race, about 10 minutes ago, will pay off for him in the end here, as he overtakes the P1 of the GT3 amateur class, BMW LC Lutz. But yeah, it's gonna be, as you can see, he's only half track behind him, and it's gonna be a close one, because the time he has spent in pit lane is only a bit shorter than that, as Daniels has gone into the pits here for his hopefully his pit stop and not a second drive-through. We're gonna have to wait and see, as now Finn is also gonna pit lane. Is Marcus, he just brakes just in time, hopefully not picking up a penalty there. His car going almost sideways as Marcus also follows him. Now it's going to be fun to see, will they be able to get their pit crew just in the right place at the right time, as they can see their pit crew. We unfortunately can't. But what you need to look at the track map there is also P3 and P4 now going pit lane. Will Marcus be able to go for a quick fueling and come out ahead of Life? Remember, before the pit stops, the Life was about 6 seconds ahead of these other two drivers. Looking currently at Marcus, he's fueling his car. He started racing P1, so he's just a tiny bit ahead.
Yeah, so most of the races in the pit lane at the moment as
both drivers go out, and Life making the wrong decision earlier in the race. He has done about 6 seconds longer pit stop than the other two drivers, and that has dropped him back down to P3. But Life can still maybe catch up to Marcus, and both of them will most likely be in a Discord call or maybe even a team radio in iRacing, saying we need to work together. As the Aquiver GT3 also moves out of the way of his teammates on the LMP1. But as you can see, the time that is currently shown behind the drivers shows that Marcus had a quicker pit stop of almost half a second quicker than Finn there. But stopping earlier, Life needed to fuel for more, and that made him be stationary for just that bit longer, and the drivers are doing way quicker than you would be if you're standing still, and that 7 seconds might only be 7 seconds in pit lane, but on track that's going to be a lot more time that you're going to be losing.
Yeah, as Life goes down the inside of Soholm there. Oh, I think they've heard a bit of contact there, unfortunately, as Soholm does wait for him. Marcus, I think, thought that Weichel was going to cross in front of him at the apex a bit quicker than he did, so a little bit of contact there, and Soholm let him go. Soholm being in the wars again, that's at least the second car we've seen him have contact with. But going back to Weichel's strategy, I think he saw the GT3 traffic ahead of him. Oh, as Soholm must be pushing him down the pit straight.
You can't be pushing, guys. You can't be pushing these cars. This isn't NASCAR. This is LMP2 around Road America. Completely different cars. Maybe the same track that you can see on your TVs on Sunday evening. As Daniels also has gone into pit lane for another time currently for fuel. But Life has gone ahead of Marcus. Daniels not being able to put a fight to Silas in the GT3 AM class. But Life now needs to work with Solom. Hopefully both of the drivers didn't get any damage. As Vinicius goes for his, hopefully, pit stop. He's been in the pit earlier in this race with most likely a drive-through penalty. But both those Aquiver guys need to be talking right now. They need to be working with each other. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Are we gonna work together? Are you gonna push me like they did almost just now? But once again, Marcus not having the best of days with these GT3s. GT3s almost being a driving chicane for him this race, making it possible for Life to get ahead of Marcus with a big gap now, as Marcus was stuck behind Korsman in that Lamborghini, and now he's going to be stuck behind his McLaren, because once again he can't go on the inside there in this part of the track. Even here he's going to be stuck, and he's going to be losing so much time. Must be angry right now. Traffic not being the best for him right now, as we only got 20 minutes to go right now. But the gap, as you can see right here, the bottom right end of the screen, has just been growing bigger every single lap, with that traffic not paying out for him. The traffic just, Marcus not being able to handle the traffic for such a skilled driver as him. He's been very unlucky this race, and I think battle for P1 is going to be, there needs to be a very big miracle, or we're going to have hopefully something happen where Finn, I won't hope for Finn to make a mistake, but as viewers, as spectators, we want to see a battle on track like we were seeing earlier. And John Derrick currently here in the 144 Rottenberry Racing McLaren, also enjoying his life, still out here on track, not pitting yet. Also a big thing here. Will he be able to extend his way all the way to the end of this race?
Jamie Daniels runs a bit wide at turn 2. But yeah, not too much of a problem. That will affect his top speed down the straight into turn 5, but carries on without too much drama.
not the best of races of Jamie Daniels' race so far. He has shown better potential in other races, but I think he needs to just finish this race, reset for next week, and hopefully have a better time out there.
Yeah, I think Jamie Daniels will be looking to just, exactly, cement his second place and not whereas... So, Emmanuel Senna's obviously hit trouble previously and has retired the car as a result of that. He'll be guaranteed second place points now.
Yeah, he needs to be thinking of the long time. Just finish this race, gain those few points as Korsman goes into pit lane for the first or the second GT3 to do so in the GT3 Pro class, but Korsman being just a bit more of the field than Vinicius is. He's gonna go for that splash and dash. Only 50 minutes left in this race, but I'm thinking, will Derek be able to extend his fueling range longer in the McLaren of his? Because the McLaren has a bigger fuel tank, don't forget, than this Lamborghini does. As most cars come into pit lane right here, we see the number 1 in the GT3 AM class of Silas in the 524 BMW going into pit lane, but that McLaren has a bigger fuel tank than Korsman has. He might be able to just go that fuel laps longer, and if he's also fuel saving, don't forget, then he might be able to finish a race without even stopping. And I think most of the drivers might, if that is the case, have to be thinking, do I want to maybe switch to that McLaren car? Because not stopping in a race is a very big advantage that you have over the rest of the grid. Yes, I think I can't quickly gain information on how much fuel can go in that McLaren, but I'm definitely sure that more can go in that McLaren. Just a tiny bigger fuel tank, as we're currently on board with a replay of Jelte Korsman coming out of pit lane. He has bigger, heavier car, and that just catches him out there, needing to do a quick spinaroo. Isn't able to get his car around, needs to reverse, and this is going to cost him loads of time. Also bouncing a bit, hope that doesn't break his floor. As John Derek also goes into pit lane here, we're seeing John here for his pit stop, only one lap longer, as Juan Melinius also goes into pit lane really quick there. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty for that. But Jelte Korsman now needs to really speed up. As you can see on the track map there, he's now going into the last few corners, but he really needs to speed up if he wants to go to fight. Oh, he's very far behind. That mistake cost him loads and loads of time to Derek, and I think Derek is just gonna ride home. Only 15 minutes left in this race, but will Korsman also lose his place to Juan here? Juan now coming out of pit lane, and Hendrik yet to stop, if I'm correct. No, Hendrik also stopping, so Jelte is now lost one place, but he's closely followed by Hendrik in the Aquiver car. So Korsman just that tiny mistake with big consequences, losing loads of time, losing the position to Juan, losing the battle to P1, and almost losing the position to P4 and Hendrik, as this is Theo Schroeder in P4 currently in the LP2 class, going just a bit too wide, hitting the curb and hitting the wall really hard. Currently he is in the pit lane, as I think his right front tire looks not to be fitted in the correct way, and I think that might be race end for him, with only the tiny few amount left to go, as Juan there going insta replay once again back to back with a full tank here. The full tank coming out of pit lane, showing that it's very hard to get this Audi under control, as it shows that rear engine Audi being just a bit too difficult to drive there, and Kwon losing 2 places there to Jelte and Hendrik. Hendrik being the entire race being far behind, now showing that whatever he's been doing at the back of the grid really pays off, because currently he's fighting for P3 and maybe even P2 if Jelte makes another mistake, which he can't afford. And it also looks that Finn is just sailing home at the moment. No, I thought it was Finn going around the outside, but I think that it's Live going around the inside of Jelte Korsman there. With Jelte having a tiny mistake as we're running aboard with Live here. He is still getting followed by Marcus, who's once again not having the best of days, as I think Jelte made a mistake there, allowing Hendrik to pass him. Just once again making mistakes here. A replay of that incident, I think, Jelte just having a tank slap coming out of the last corner, and that allows Hendrik to follow his Aquiver on a P2 on the outside there and moving into P2. Hendrik going from P5 at the beginning of this race to now P2. Maybe even he can hold this position if he doesn't make any mistake. Jelte making 2 mistakes very close back to back in only 10 minutes. He has lost that P2. The fight for P1, and maybe even he's gonna lose a podium here if he doesn't watch out with the mistakes he's making. Hendrik here in the 151 Aquiver GT3 is definitely enjoying himself, getting all the points just gifted to him, with just the other guys making mistakes and him just being clean so far. As I'm looking for my water currently, because my throat is starting to hurt a bit with this amazing race. There's only 11 minutes to go now. Currently Finn still being in P1 with a 5-second lead, and I think John Derek is gonna, if he doesn't make any big mistake, he's gonna be getting this position. But the fight for P2 definitely not over. Currently on the nose here, just showing the speed that this Lamborghini GT3 still has, going over 200 kilometers an hour, braking that hard, going almost 100 kilometers an hour slower into that corner. He's gonna just sniff the back end. He might be able to smell the exhaust of that Aquiver Motorsport. So currently in that same exhaust of Hendrik, showing the bigger lights, the endurance lights package that Jelte has put on his car. Jelte's just steaming down the pit straight, trying to gain back his position that he lost due to those tiny mistakes. Jelte seeming to be the quicker driver here, being able to brake just a tiny bit later, showing his dominance that he has over Hendrik, it seems. Maybe he can even put a move here, but he's going to need to be wary of the slipstream, because he will be able to use the slipstream to overtake him probably right here. But he needs to not forget that if he makes another mistake and allows Hendrik to go in his slipstream, the same will happen to him, as Hendrik defends the inside here. Jelte going around the outside, going a bit too wide there, taking the off track, but still being side by side, stalling in behind Hendrik now. Jelte wanted to do everything to pass him, but you don't want to just focus yourself on the cars ahead of you. The Swan also slotted in behind him, now also being very close, looking down the inside. Maybe he can make a move here. No, just a bit too far. Slotting in behind him now. 2 Lamborghinis ahead of him. They're fighting. In Dutch, where I'm from, we have a saying from this: 2 dogs fighting over 1 bone, and the third walks away with it. If these two guys fight really hard with each other right now, as an LP2 comes around the inside there, number 80 of Marcus. Marcus once again not having the best of days with traffic. But you can just see the fight still going here. It might be for P2, but 3 guards really wanted to get those points here.
Yeah, it's a shame. Oh, as
Hendrik makes a mistake there, going a bit too wide. This allows Juan to go on the inside here. Hendrik losing 2 places, Korsman now being in P1, as Hendrik makes a big tank slapper there. Those tires being very dusty, being very dirty. And this has thrown away his chances of a very clean P podium here. Just in 2 corners. Oh, he just hit that curve there. Tank slapper 1, tank slapper 2. And then you're going to be in that wall. Luckily, he's not in any wall, but he's going to be in the grass. And losing loads of time. As Jelte Korsman also goes into pit lane here. Has he picked up a penalty somewhere? Going just a bit too wide. I think he must. It doesn't look like he's going to be pitting. But this has also thrown away his chances of a podium. What I just said about Hendrik losing out on the podium. He's very lucky that Korsman now picks up a penalty. Penalties being thrown out left, right, and center here for these 3 GTEs getting a penalty here, and this will allow Juan to easily get that P2. I think the penalty was picked up in that turn 3 there, going side by side with Hendrik earlier on in the lap. But penalties, you need to be wary of them, guys. They aren't for fun, and Korsman just loses about 40 seconds right there, just on Juan here, and allowing Juan to have smooth sailing. But as we're currently on board with John Derek here, the only guy that can really say smooth sailing, almost half the track ahead of the other guys, 32 seconds. He's just showing his dominance. First couple minutes of the race, he was behind the rest of the guys. He was behind Korsman. Now he's ahead of Korsman. Now he's ahead of Juan. Now he's ahead of Hendrik, and he's going to be even further ahead in the championship. As Silas also is now ahead of Korsman due to that penalty. But we're going to see Korsman most likely just overtaking that BMW with ease. But the BMW can still make it very difficult for him, as there is a 15-second gap to Hendrik there. So Korsman needs to find somehow 15 seconds on Hendrik in this last 5 minutes of this race. There's only going to be 3 laps. So Hendrik either needs to make a big mistake for Korsman to fight back. But Hendrik is now just needs to keep his car on track, allow every single LMP2 just pass him easily, and just hope that there's no mistakes from his side to easily gain that P3 from P5 where he started. That's a great result. As you can see, the speed difference that these pro drivers have over the amateur drivers. Korsman braking way later than this BMW. Maybe that's the Lamborghini, maybe that's the BMW that's being slow. I couldn't be able to tell you, but there's a reason why Korsman is in the pro class, but that doesn't. They're currently fighting for a position in the GT3 overall class, so there's no reason for Silas to get out of his way. As much as Korsman being very annoyed behind him, as much as Korsman would have liked for Silas to get out of his way at this point, he has no obligation to do so. Korsman needs to show his pace, needs to go around the outside, needs to find a way to go around the outside or inside even. And then he needs to fight his way back all the way up to Hendrik. It's only gained 1 second so far being stuck behind this BMW. Korsman must be kicking himself at this point. Get out of the way. I am the quicker driver, quicker class. You may be, but currently you're fighting for a position, and Silas has no obligation to let you go at this very point. With 1K difference, but Korsman looking down the inside. Hendrik defending the inside here, and Hendrik letting him by, being very much a big gentleman and doing Korsman a very big solid there. He had no obligation to let him by. Yet he did, proving or showing that Silas is a very good and very nice driver there, allowing Jelte to go by there. Now Jelte needs to really speed up gain, I don't know how, but 2 seconds, maybe even 7 seconds. If he's lucky, maybe 5 seconds per lap on Hendrik there. Hendrik not being 5 seconds slower, so he's gonna just need to absolutely send it and hope for a mistake from Hendrik to gain this podium. Korsman making 2 mistakes around 45 minutes into this race, and then the drive-through penalty he just had to serve. He's just lost about a minute on John Hendrik, who he was fighting earlier on in the race, don't forget. He's running on board with Finn here. No, don't forget him. He might be quick, but he's just been making no mistakes. He had a good fight at the beginning of the race, but once he got away from Marcus, once he got away from Life, he has been just making no mistakes, being very consistent, as you can see, every single lap being either a 50.5 or even quicker than that, making 0 mistakes, getting really lucky with the traffic here, looking in the inside here on a BMW, and looking on the outside here of that Lamborghini. But yeah, Finn here being in P1 Obsidian Edge, currently 4 seconds ahead of Life, showing that he's quick. Not that many. Oh, as Korsman in the background there gets his corner all sorts of wrong there. I think he might have held it out of the wall there, but he's behind Silas once again. Not the best of races for Korsman, and I definitely hope that he doesn't get a penalty for this. Oh, he just misses the wall there. Oh, he must just misses the wall there. I think he might need to clip that and send that into iRacing for the top 10, if they even do that these days anymore. But Korsman, very lucky to not hit the wall and not end this race there. But don't forget, he could still lose another position to Vinicius in P4. He might be 1 lap down, but that doesn't mean he is not out of this race just yet. As we see Marcus going down the inside, I believe that is Marcus on the inside of both of these cars. But Korsman now is stuck behind Silas again, shows his nose on the inside. Silas now saying, no, you made the mistake, now you're going to be behind him, now I am going to be the quicker driver, you're going to be following me. As now Korsman is in the slipstream, he might be able to overtake him here. With just the slipstream, you can see the suck being very effective there. Korsman looking the inside, and I think at this point Silas knows, okay, if you can just keep it safe, then you can go ahead and don't bother me at this point anymore. I don't want to be in your mistakes, I don't want to be in your wrecks. But Silas still looking on the inside. Silas having a clean race so far. He might want to fight right now, just to spice up these last few minutes of this race. As we are currently on board with Finn here, I don't know if the white flag has been waved. I think it might have. Finn now coming through the last couple of corners, as it looks like Marcus and Life are still having a battle for P2 there. I think Life has somewhere made a bit of a mistake, allowing Marcus to come closer. And like I said, I don't know if the white flag has been waved. I don't know if this is the last lap. I'm gonna have to look if the guy is furiously waving his flag right here. Yes, it has. So we got a winner here in Finn, but the battle for P2 is still going wide ahead. Currently in the slipstream, Life pulls to the inside, trying to not give him any slipstream. As Life gets P2 there, Marcus in P3. Very, very close. Only 0.001 second gap at the line there. As Silas here takes P1 in a very dominant race of him, not making any mistakes in that BMW of his. As Korsman also finishes the line, goes across the line there. Korsman not enjoying his race so far. But yeah, John Derek here also going through the last few corners, trying to go across the line to get his 5th victory in this race so far. Smooth sailing, absolutely perfect race from him. fuel saving at the beginning of the race, I think, behind Porsman, allowed him to go that extra lap. And apart from that, he made zero mistakes coming to the last corner here. Just sending it through the last straight, going to the line, going to the man with the flag, waving it very furiously to get P1 in his 5th victory. As we're currently on board with the last car driving, Juan here, just being ahead of Finn, not getting a lap before the line. Last few corners for him. And then after 33 laps, we're going to be ending the race with an amazing race, amazing battles, and very different strategies during this race. As Juan here crosses the line, flashing his lights, very happy with the P2. Lots of things happening in the last few seconds of this race, last few minutes of this race, as we have the provisional ending here. Finn takes the win with an amazing fight at the beginning of this race, amazing strategy, live, having punched an amazing gap, but just not having the best strategy out today, pitting earlier, allowing Finn to overtake him, and making a big mistake probably at the end there, which we unfortunately didn't see, allowing Marcus to close up, and only 1/10 at the line different both those Aquiver guys. Lowry in P4, Theo being in P5 with a big shunt at the end of the race. They're going into the pits, and Dylan Cooper also on the LMP2, not even being able to finish his race and start his race, unfortunately, due to internet problems at the beginning. Then moving on to GT3 Pro, John Derrick, amazing race, his 5th win in this series. John Derrick now being on 125 points. Bit of fighting at the beginning with Juan and Jelte being in P3 currently, Juan in P2, but Derrick just punching a gap and riding away. As Juan is in P3 or P2, and Jelte amazingly finding his way back onto the podium, with most likely, I think, Hendrik not getting a penalty, I think, because don't forget, he was ahead of Jelte there. Jelte on the podium, not the best of races for him, as we got Silas there in the GT3 amateur class in P1, in his class P4 overall. Hendrik slotting him behind him in P4 in the GT3 Pro class. Vinicius finishing off that Pro class. Then we got Daniels also not having the best of races for him, and Eric having some big problems with the traffic and some of his competitors hitting him, retiring earlier on in the race.
As we'll now bring in our winner, Finn Norgard Pedersen. Finn, it's not unusual to see you in on the top step of the podium. How did that race go for you?
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. I went in just wanting to have fun. Didn't expect to be on pace really. Only did like 10 laps of practice, and then I just battled with the guys in the start. Just had fun, and then suddenly I don't know what happened to life there, but suddenly I was in the lead, and then it was just about driving it home and trying to minimize any mistakes. So that was a really fun race.
Definitely had some close fighting with Marcus and Live there. Your start, of course, also being perfect, currently outside of Marcus, as being shown on screen at this very moment. Where do you think you won this race? Was it due to your competitors making slight errors, or was it just because you were just a tiny bit more dominant over them?
Yeah, I think my strategy maybe helped a bit because I pitted later than live, and then also I think it was pretty clean race on my side, which I didn't expect because of the grass, because which normally doesn't like me. But yeah, everything just went really well, and the pace was also getting quite good towards the end. So yeah.
Yeah, and you're closing into Marcus. Are you trying to give him a bit of a fight for the championship here? He's currently in P1 still, but you're definitely closing in on him with Marcus now being in P3 after not the best of races for him.
Yeah, of course, I hope to close the gap even more. But yeah, really wasn't expecting to battle against a guy with such high skills. But yeah, I hope I can challenge him for the championship, and the other guys, of course, as well.
You're definitely showing that you have some pace, and congratulations on your second win
Thank you.
so far in this championship, and let's hope for many more.
I hope so too. Thank you.
So that was Finn Norgard Pedersen, our LMP2 winner. We now bring in 5-time winner John Derrick. Fuel save strategy this week, John, or you go hell for leather? And Yelta Korsman had a couple of issues ahead of you, it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a struggle to even attempt to stay with him at the start. His pace was really good. He'd make a mistake, I'd get back in the slipstream. I'd make a mistake, lose him again. And I think ultimately he just had a bit of a slippy slide time at the exit of T2 on one of the laps later into the race. And then I thought I'd just got to go for it. And then after then, I sort of just dropped him. The pace, either I got quicker or I think he might have had an issue or something. So I don't know. But yeah, not as much fuel saving, I'm afraid. Sorry to disappoint.
No, you still did a fantastic job and able to save an extra lap's fuel we saw over the competition. Yeah, Yelta unfortunately had a few issues later on in the race. He had a half spin and a wild ride through the kinks. So that put pay to his ability to attack you near the end. But no, it's still a fantastic win from yourself.
Yeah, no, his pace at the start was really good. I think I was looking at him in practice in his top speed and stuff, and I think he was running a lot more wing than me. So I knew it was only if I could stay in the draft and stuff that would be my sort of only chance to keep up with him, really. Through the slow speed stuff, I was slower than him. But yeah, it's unfortunate he had a couple of issues because I remember at Spa at the start of the season as well, he's had a really good pace. So yeah, bit of a shame, but it was good fun.
So, do you feel any more pressure with yourself now? 5 rounds into the championship and 5 wins on the cards. Do you feel you going for the full 9? Do you reckon?
I feel the pressure and the expectation that I don't want to make a mistake, and but my goal for every race obviously is to survive. Particularly here, just survive in the kink. That's the first goal. And enjoy it. And if I have a bad race, I have a bad race. But it's just nice to do something on a Monday evening. So yeah, it's good fun.
Well, yeah, of course. With currently 5 wins on the board, you might have some time to retire for some of the races. But
yeah, well, no. Yeah, I
think some of the guys are still gonna fight. Maybe give you a good battle like Yelta was giving you at the start of this race.
Yeah, definitely. I think Yelta's got some serious pace. I struggled to keep up with him at the start. Like I say, he had the issues, but I think a couple of races against him would be really, really good to just try and hopefully have a clean race and stuff. Yeah. But it's good fun. That's the thing. It's nice to just drive around a bit and do something a bit different as well. I know I drive the McLaren all the time, but I've been neglecting it this season, I guess, because I've been doing Audi practice for the special events and stuff and Lambo and stuff. And it's I come back to this car and I was like, I can see why everyone hates it now. It's I just can't drive it anymore. But yeah, got there again. So I think the first few laps I was just warming up a little bit and getting used to it again. So,
well, probably not the first person, and hopefully not, and most likely not going to be the last to say. But congratulations on your victory out today, and hope for many more.
Thanks very much, guys. Cheers for the broadcast.
No problem.
Thanks very much, John. So we now bring in our GT3 AM winner, Silas Nikolaisen, in his BMW. Well done, Silas. I believe that is your second win of the championship, if not one maybe at Hockenheim last week.
No, I didn't win Hockenheim.
Sorry about
But
that.
it is the second one.
Fair enough. But yeah, fantastic race by yourself there, a convincing win in the end.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Jamie. It was a bit boring. Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Jamie had a couple of, at least one drive-through we saw, and then it looked like newcomer Eric Emanuelson in the Audi had pace at first, but then had a couple of accidents, I think.
Yeah.
You were definitely having to show some pace. In the end there, you were having a bit of a scrap. Were you getting annoyed by Jelte being ahead of you and also being behind you, showing his pace as currently on screen? We see a bit of an incident early on in the race behind you on lap 1 there. But was Jelte annoying you there at the end?
No, but I think he was quicker than me, and I had just had a little bit of fun racing him. That didn't really happen that much in the race, so it was fine with him being around for the last laps to race with.
And I think this allows you to move up to P1, and I'm probably mistaken.
Oh, I think we're tied.
I think you're tied once again.
Yeah.
With Jamie
Yes.
for P1. Definitely going to be a good fight for the rest of the season, and hopefully the rest of the rounds. With only 4 rounds left to go, you're definitely showing that you can give the fight to him. And congratulations on your second win in this championship. And let's hope for many more.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right, thank you very much, Silas. We will now bring in LMP2 Aquiver Motorsports competitor Laurie Capella. You had a good battle with Teo and I think it was Marcus at the is it Life at the start of the race. Looked frantic and highly entertaining.
Yeah, we were having a bit of a scrap there. Maybe I was a bit too excited because I got a very good start, so I decided to, try to do something fun in the beginning because I knew Life and they are gonna run away from me at some point, so I just thought to have a bit of fun time.
Definitely, you were not the quickest out on track, but you definitely showed a great fight here today. Next race is gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, Sebring. Do you think you gonna have some more pace there? Gonna have to be able to fight for P1?
Yeah, I don't think I have ever driven really before with LMP2, so this was a bit of a test pretty much for me. But Sebring, we did the 12 hour in LMP2, had okay pace back then. But we'll see next week.
Well, congratulations on your P4. Still some great points, and hopefully in Sebring we can see you next week fighting for the victory.
Yeah, let's hope that.
Thank you very much, Laurie. As we will bring in series organizer and third place finisher today, Marcus Solholm of Aquiver Motorsports. Looked like an exciting race today there, Marcus.
Yeah, I guess you can say so. Not the cleanest race from my side. I had 11x for like the last 25 minutes, so I just backed off and thought, okay, I can get more positions later on whenever I have some more X, but not in this race. So yeah.
Fair enough. You had a bit of a coming together with Eric Emanuelson.
Yeah.
How did that? How do you see that from your point of view?
So Finn went through, and then for some reason I just went full LMP2 brain, and I thought I don't know why I thought it was lifting. It just looked like it whenever I looked at Finn, so I thought it was leaving me the space on the inside because it was lifting, and I was just like, oh, thank you. And then that was not how it was. So yeah, completely my fault. Might get a penalty for it, but we'll see.
Well, definitely not the best of races. We're currently seeing that incident. Yeah, just being a bit too eager to try and stay behind Finn there. You had a great fight with him. Were you saving fuel behind him earlier on in the race, about halfway through?
I actually wasn't really. At this track, the dirty end stuff, like, because you can keep up with each other through the drifts and stuff, you get very close to each other, but then in between the straights, there's big dirty air sections where you lose like 6/10 or something. So I wasn't really saving fuel because it's a little bit harder this track. I was just trying to keep up with him really because Finn was quick. So
This, I think, also puts you guys on equal points again, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so, because I think it's Theo that is.
Oh yeah,
is,
sorry, that's Theo. Definitely Finn getting closer though on you.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think he's going to be a competitor to the rest of the season?
I think if he keeps this up, then yeah, absolutely. He's been very good at keeping it clean and stuff, and yeah.
Next week is going to be Sebring. We just had your teammate in Aquiver, Laurie, being in here. He said that you guys did the 12 hours of Sebring only a month ago. You think you'll be able to translate some pace of that 12 hours experience on the next race?
We'll see. Hopefully, yeah, but I think a lot of other people also did the Sebring 12 hours, so I think it'll be definitely a more competitive field by then, but yeah, from most people's perspective, at least.
Well, maybe a race you want to forget today, not the cleanest races from your end, but definitely you put on a great show for us. My throat is hurting because of all the overtaking and the battling you guys were doing. But congratulations on at least the podium, and let's hope for another great fight next week.
Yeah, we're hoping for that, absolutely. And great job on the commentary.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Marcus, if anybody has seen, if the people out there have seen some racing that they want to get involved with, how would they get involved with the Aquiver eSports Championship?
Well, I'm about 99% sure that there's a link in the description on this stream to join our Discord server, and then you just go to the sign up, and then you sign yourself up.
Fantastic. And as we see on screen, there are 4 more rounds left. So next week we'll be at Sebring, then we'll take a week off, and then Sebring, Road Atlanta, and we'll finish up at Daytona for round 9 of the championship. Looking forward to every single one of them.
Yeah, same. Pretty popular track, so hoping for some good participation there as well.
All right then. So yeah, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring you round 5 of the championship from Road America, a fantastic circuit, and yeah, we shall see you next Monday at Sebring.
Be sure to follow ISRC on Twitter. Be sure to check the link in the description for the championship of Aquiver, and also the upcoming the championship in ESS racing and the endurance championship by ISRC, and also the Porsche Cup. They are currently on a week off. Next week we're going to be back with the race at Canadian Motorsport. Also a great race, so be there. We're gonna next week, same time on this channel, and then on Tuesday is the Porsche Cup race.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much to Max Hark for leading commentary tonight. I've been myself, Martin Pearson, on the cameras. We've had Marcus Solholm, our league organizer, in here for Aquiver eSports Championship, and we shall catch you next time on ISRC TV.